could join me. I've got a few minutes to talk to you, and today I want to discuss, of course very briefly, the very idea of virtue ethics. You know, we've been talking about ethics off and on, back in classes, public forums, Skype meetings, and so on. But today, just very quickly, let me just touch on virtue ethics. It's derived from the ideas of Aristotle, of course, right? The father of virtue ethics. Most of Aristotle's philosophy was really focused on developing the character and so on. And given that I am a martial artist, and the very idea of martial arts, not so much this, you know, the popular imagery and the adaptation into sports and competition and all that, but the real philosophy of martial arts is about perfecting one's character. And that's what Aristotle was about, his philosophy, of course. So virtue ethics is all about the character of a person, to have courage, to be honest, to display loyalty, to seek the perfection of character, to achieve actualization, if you like, from a psychological perspective. Many people appreciate the idea of actualization of a person. Also, the behavior of a person. Are you an ethical person who is honest at all times, who displays that honesty with his behavior, with his conduct at workplace, at home, and within his own person? When you introspect, when you look inside, when you go inwards, when you are offering yourself in an area of self-inquiry, are you honest with yourself? Are you applying the ethics of virtue when you're dealing with yourself, which will result in you having the kind of character that is outside of himself, dealing with people based on excellent principles of ethics. So having the courage to speak the truth with the lowercase truth is what I'm talking about, not the grand idea of what the big truth is and the grand narratives. As a journalist, for example, working in mass media, do you have the kinds of virtues that allow you to seek the truth, speak the truth, and go against the grain, even if it means being attacked by your colleagues, by the general public, or the powers that be that you are exposing, and so forth. If you are a doctor, a physician, a healer that deals with public at large and is supposed to heal them, do you apply the kinds of character ethics that are necessary for you to care for the patient as a person, not as a case, not as a machine to be repaired, but as a human being? One of the problems, I think, with our society in the United States of America is that in our imaginary, collectively speaking, of course, right? I'm speaking in general terms and don't wish to be a sweeping generalizer. Collectively, we seem to think that we apply virtue ethics on a daily basis, given that individualistic society is working for us, supposedly. Obviously, it's not these days. But why is it that we don't have things such as universal health care, whereas other developed nations around the world have at least taken care of that part of their problematic? But does it require virtue ethics? I venture to think that if Aristotle were to come here, let's say we bring the specter of Aristotle here, we bring his ghost, we bring him to life, and put him in front of a camera, and send him to YouTube. So Aristotle, what do you think? Do you think the United States of America needs universal health care? He would say, well, ethically, you're obligated to bring about universal health care in your society. That was my little bit on virtue ethics. Of course, you will continue the inquiry, reading the books, and conducting discussions with everyone. Thanks a lot.